Hey guys, it's Lily and it is September, which means I am bringing you a lot of sickle cell awareness videos to let you guys in on my story, my different experiences with the disease, also answering your questions on both Facebook and Instagram, so stay tuned. I will be answering your questions.
It's Living Life with Lily, coming to you from Newman University. It's all things family, church, and school, keeping all the vlogs extra fun and cool. A church girl from the Galat family. It's Living Life with Lily.
Okay guys, so somebody asked me a pretty simple sounding question, but it's got a lot to it, which is, can you just tell us your sickle cell story? So I guess I'll tell you guys my sickle cell story. Sickle cell, for those of you who do not know, is a blood disease inherited through your parents. So my father and my mother both had sickle cell trait, so I got sickle cell, so I was born with it. So I've had it my entire life. When I was a child, I didn't really have too many pain crises, but when you have sickle cell, you have to go to the hospital if you have a fever, because you could be having a lot of different things actually. When I was in second grade, I had pneumonia twice. I had an acute chest a few times when I was a little girl. And the really only other time that I would have pain crises, because I didn't have pain crises too much when I was a child, was when I would get in the water. Because for sicklers, switching from hot to cold temperatures really quickly would usually cause a pain crisis. So for me, I couldn't get in the water. And I think that kind of matures you when you're young, because like 8-year-olds, all they think about is like gratifying themselves like immediately. But I'm 8 years old and they're like, hey, my friends like invite me to their pool party and I'm like, okay, but I'm not even gonna bring my bathing suit because I'm not getting in the water because it's gonna make my arms hurt. Like, you just kind of have to be mature. Like, you can't think about what you want right now. You have to think about what you want in the long term. So I think that will probably mature an 8-year-old. 6th grade, I started having really bad stomach pain. And I would just wake up in the middle of the night, like screaming. I live on the 2nd floor. Me and my sisters all live on the 2nd floor, and then our parents live on the 3rd floor. So in the middle of the night, I would just like start screaming my mom's name. And if she didn't come quick enough, or if I thought she didn't hear me, I would scream for my dad. And then I would just start screaming Brianna or Mookie or anybody. Like, I don't know what's going on, but it's just the most like intense pain in my stomach ever. It just was so bad. And I'd go to the hospital and they would treat me with sometimes pain meds. Sometimes they would be like, oh, you're constipated. Oh, you have gas. And I'm like, come on, like my stomach, like there's something severely, severely wrong with my stomach, but nobody could figure out what it was. So that went on for a few months. And then finally, one of my doctors, my favorite doctor, he came in and we were like, I'm having this pain issue in my stomach. I don't know what it is. And he was like, oh, it's probably your gallbladder. People with sickle cell, like their gallbladders get inflamed. So they checked to see if my gallbladder, and it was. So I got my gallbladder removed, and when the surgeons took it out, they were like, oh, it was really inflamed, like it was about to burst. And I was like, okay, well, if only I had gone to the hospital a million times to try and figure out what was wrong with it. They took my gallbladder out in 6th grade, which was like scary. And also I ended up going back to school after having been out for like a month. And I'm supposed to like learn algebra after missing like 3 chapters. Like, it's just insane. So it was a lot of teaching myself and having like my mom and sisters try and teach me what I did not learn in class. But then even after the surgery, my stomach was still hurting really, really badly. And I would go to the hospital. And one time they were like, oh, you were still passing gallstones. Like, the duct is really open. Somehow you still had a few stones in there. And I'm like, what does that even mean? I think they made that up. Like, I straight up think they made that up. So I tried like every diet. My mom tried a million different things. She would just go online and try and find answers. So I used to eat an apple before bed. I tried drinking milk and ginger ale like mixed together. It's supposed to like make you throw up and then your stomach will feel better. I've had like a spoonful of honey, putting vanilla extract on your back. Like, my mom is a real one because she will not settle until like it's fixed. She's like, I'm going to continue problem solving and figure it out like online. So we didn't know what was wrong with my stomach. I get to high school, and I think in high school I started having pain crises way more often in my legs, in my back, my shoulders were really hurting. I had AVN, which is avascular necrosis, lightly in my shoulders and my hips. And we were like, okay, I can't continue coming in and out of the hospital all the time. So the doctor was like, well, there's this new medicine that like is supposed to help sicklers with pain crises and they can go to college and all this stuff, which is called hydroxyurea. And they're like, try this. So tried hydroxyurea. It did not help me. And they're like, well, it doesn't help everybody. And I'm like, of course it's not going to help me because nothing ever helps. But I digress. Then after that, we tried simple blood transfusions, which I did for a while. It helped get my hemoglobin up. Which is just getting, like, once a month I would come into the hospital and they would give me new blood, like 2 or 3 bags. And my hemoglobin would go up. I'd have a little bit more energy for a while. And then as it would go back down, then I'd go back and get more. I did that, I think maybe 4 or 5 times before the IV team told my doctors, like, do not ask for one more IV for her because we cannot access. It used to take like 11 and 12 tries for them to give me an IV because all my veins are like gone, all covered in scar tissue, and like they just couldn't get it anywhere. Not my hand, my arm, like up, like they could not get it. So my doctor was like, okay, well then we'll put a port in. But if we're gonna put a port in, we might as well put in a double port and you could just go to apheresis. So they put in a double port. I go to apheresis, which is where they take my blood out and they give me new blood. So it's supposed to be like doubly good. Still had a lot of pain crises with that, but I got the port placed over the summer before I went to college. And I went to college after my first week, literally that Friday of my first week of college. I went into the hospital. It wasn't inpatient. I went in to get my apheresis and my port wasn't like working. I don't know if you guys can see the scar, but it's right here. But my port like was not working. It was swelling up. It was bruising. It hurt. And so they sent me to go get a picture of it. And I go in and they take like a little x-ray of it. And the doctor looks at the screen and goes, oh my God, and then runs out of the room. And she leaves a student nurse in the room, and the student nurse is like looking at the screen, and then she looks at me and goes, so like, are you in school or? And I'm like, no, we are not gonna act like I don't know something really bad is happening right now. Like, don't try that with me. And then I see the doctors coming back in with like 3 more doctors and my mom, and I'm like, what is about to happen? And basically the port had come apart in my chest. So like the catheter was just like chilling in my pulmonary artery. And the big part of the port was just still over here, just like free flying. So they told my mom to like call whoever she needs to support her. And it's a Friday, it's late. Like they put me in the ICU and they were like, okay, we're gonna try and get the heart surgeon and see if he can come back. Cause he left like a little bit ago, but they were trying to get the heart surgeons, and they like kept having just crowds full of doctors come in the room and look at me, and they're like, oh my God, I don't know how this happened. I don't know what we're gonna do. And they're like, okay, we could probably do open heart surgery and get it out. And then somebody was like, oh no, we could snake it out. And it just was a million different doctors coming in. And then they would be like, do you mind if a few students come in? And I'd be like, okay. And there'd be like 12 students coming in and just looking at you like, oh. And then they would do like an ultrasound, or they'd take a picture and everybody'd be like, wow, okay. And they're like, yeah, you're never going to see this. This never happens. And I'm like, you know, I'm also kind of a human who would not like to be marveled at. Especially before you don't, like, I don't know if I'm going to be okay. You're telling my mom to call who she needs because I might die tonight. And you're like, see, before she dies, make sure you guys look, because you're never going to see this again. Like, that's not cool. Please don't do that. But they ended up being able to snake it out in one surgery, and then the second surgery they did like a day after was taking this like part of the port out and replacing it. So, okay, January, I go back to school for my second semester, and I'm like, okay, I could do it. I'm going to try and not go to the hospital all the time, but like, it's just so hard. When I go to class, it was really for the teachers. Like, it was for them to feel better, because me going to class on a bunch of pain medicines is useless. And me going to the hospital all the time and trying to learn in the hospital room is pointless. Like, it was not working. And so I withdrew from college. I was on medical leave, and I honestly did not know what I was going to do, because, you know, you're really young and all you hear is like college. Like, you need to go get an education and then get a job. And I'm like, okay, but now I can't do college, and I'm sick all the time. I'm always in the hospital. I can't hold a job like that or do anything. So it's just so frustrating. And I know that a lot of people with sickle cell go through the same thing of like constantly fighting and just kind of like, I don't even know what to do. So it is very frustrating. And so the doctors were like, okay, well, we have tried everything that we can. So the only other thing is to try a bone marrow transplant. It kind of felt like he was being like, well, there's nothing we can do. So you have like this many days left, basically. Like, it just felt really end of the road to me. But after like thinking it over and like talking with my mom and just really like, you know, taking in the information, we were like, okay, you know, maybe this is just what we need, you know, like the hope that we're looking for, and then I could be out of pain and like live my life. So he said that if I have any siblings, they can be tested. And so both of my sisters were tested. And it was funny because like a lot of people asked me if they could donate, which was just so sweet. They're like, oh, can I be tested? And I'm like, I don't know, like, it's just siblings right now. But like, it was just really sweet that people were trying to help me out. They were like coming to my aid and being like, hey, I'll be tested. Bone marrow transplants are like no joke for the donor either. But we got the results back. My little sister was half match and my older sister was a full match. So they were like, okay, well, your sister's a full match. Like, let's do it. So trying to speed up the story for you guys. We're in about like June now. So I went down to the NIH, which is National Institutes of Health, and I had a bone marrow transplant there. And it still is experimental. And I felt like experiment 626, like not even human, like I'm just an experiment, but it doesn't matter. What happened was they took the marrow from my sister, she donated, and then gave it to me. So 10 days before that, I started chemo and radiation to like kill all of my marrow off and get hers to like hopefully work for mine. So all mine was dead, and then they gave it to me over like, I want to say 9 hours, and they say happy birthday to me, and they're like, it's your new birthday, you're not gonna have sickle cell anymore. And I think day 3 or 4 after transplant, I had no pain. Like, I was in 0 pain, and I remember freaking out with my entire family because it was just such like a miracle. I had not been pain-free for years. And then that same day, my port started getting black around the thing, and they're like, this thing seems infected. And I am neutropenic, like I don't have anything to fight off an illness or a disease. So they're like, we got to emergency surgery, like get this thing out because you don't have any type of anything to fight this off. So had that surgery, and then the next day I was in a lot of pain again. And since then I kind of have still been in pain, like I get pain crises or just like really excruciating pain in my arms, my legs, my back. But post-transplant now, like I don't have sickle cell, which is so great and such a blessing. I don't want to take that lightly. My hemoglobin has been good. Most of my life I've been at like a 7, I want to say, but now I think I'm a 12 or even higher. I don't know, but I know like I have definitely been a lot better. There's just a lot of like, if you're not dealing with the pain part of sickle cell and you're dealing with the different things, like when you're having a pain crisis, it's actually causing damage to your body as well. So I don't have to deal with any of those things. So that is, you know, amazing. I just have to still deal with the pain part, which for me was the entire reason that I got the transplant to begin with. So that is just a little bit frustrating, but, and by a little bit frustrating, I mean incredibly frustrating. But my family have been there, like constantly supporting me and helping me. My mom has not stopped looking for different things to try. I've tried like 12 different diets. We've done yoga, Tai Chi, Reiki, and I'm pretty sure that lady was a witch. Like me and my mom afterwards were like pleading the blood of Jesus, because I'm like, I don't know, I think that was just a witch that cast a spell on me and it didn't even work. Zumba, now I'm doing training. I have a personal trainer. I go 3 times a week for an hour, you know, just trying different ways to get out of pain. My mom has just been looking into the keto diet recently to see if maybe that will help. But I have definitely decreased the amount of hospital stays that I've had, which is amazing because now I can still go to school. I'm in school now, and I can travel. I can do the things that I couldn't do with sickle cell. I can get in the pool. It took away some of the really annoying, awful parts of sickle cell. You know, I'm still dealing with this one thing, but I'm incredibly blessed that I'm not dealing with the 1,000,001 other things that I know the sicklers are still dealing with today. And I want to bring awareness, and I'm telling you this whole long story if you're still listening, because I know that everybody's story is different, and I still feel connected to the sickle cell community because I know their struggle. I've been in their struggle, and I am definitely on their side, fighting for them to be able to get pain medicine when they go to the hospital and not have to deal with nurses who think, or doctors that think that you just want the medication. Like, why would I not want to be in school doing what I like to do? Like, I don't get it. I'm definitely on your side, sicklers. Like, I get it, and I don't know, you know, the end of my story yet. This is really my sickle cell story beginning to current, because this is not the end, but I know that, you know, everything is working together for my good, and I don't understand it right now, but by faith I understand, you know, even when it's really difficult. So that's my sickle story that you asked. You did ask, so can you blame me for telling you? I'm definitely only going to answer that one question today because it was really long, but now hopefully, you know, when I post different vlogs or answering different questions and stuff, you'll understand it more, knowing what my story has been and kind of like where I'm coming from, you know? So thank you for watching. Thank you for asking your questions. Feel free to comment below. You know, tell me your story, even if it's different. Or if you have any more questions, I'm still going to be answering questions all September. So look for those videos. Thank you for watching. All right, bye.
It's Living Life with Lily, coming to you from Newman University. It's all things family, church, and school, keeping all the vlogs extra fun and cool.